everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Mademoiselle Lena, and you can find me online at www.conjureknits.com. Today, we are here to do the Scorpio weekly forecast for March the 6th through the 12th, 2022. We are going to be using a Geomantic shield spread with Geomancy. I love doing Geomancy readings. I really do. You've got 12 houses. It covers all your bases. It gives you so much information. I do have them available over on my website. You just go over there, click on the shop button, and it will pop up Geomancy reading. So if you would like a more personal and in-depth reading, that's where you're going to get it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start by first figuring out our mothers, and then that will lead us to get the rest of the figures in our reading. All right, Spirit. Scorpio, March the 6th through the 12th, Spirit. Scorpio from March the 6th through the 12th. All right, this does take a few minutes to go through the process of finding the figures. So we're going to go ahead, cut to commercial, and then we'll be right back.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Mademoiselle Lena, and you can find me online at www.conjureknits.com. I would like to say thank you for viewing my video, and if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and click on the little bell so that you'll receive notifications of when I go live or upload new videos. I do try to stay pretty busy here on my channel. I do all 12 zodiac signs for the monthly tarot scopes. On Sundays, we have Conjure Crew with myself, Mambo Tanya, and the Black Bonnet Witch. On Mondays, I upload the weekly forecast. Every day, I do a card of the day reveal. On Wednesdays, we have the virtual book club. We are currently reading the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. It has been so much fun following Richard and Kaylin on their adventures, so you are definitely going to want to join us for that. I also pop on from time to time and do free readings, so make sure you get my notifications by clicking that little bell. Oh, and by the way, did you know that you can get your monthly tarot scope up to 2 weeks before the general public? Oh yes, check out my Patreon for details. I will drop a link in the description box below. Alright, I feel that I have rambled on long enough. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get back to the video.
And welcome back. I'm just finishing up getting the figures here. So let me go ahead and do that, and we'll jump straight into our reading. All right, there we go. Pardon me. Okay, so in the first house, this is usually the house of self. However, since this is a weekly reading, we are going to use house 1 as determining how the week is going to start off, and then we'll go through the other houses and see how we progress as the week goes along. So here in this first house, we have Carcer. So what Carcer is telling me is this week is going to start off, you're feeling kind of stuck. Carcer is, and it's exactly like what it sounds. It's a feeling of being incarcerated. It's like you're in prison. You feel like there's no way out. You feel isolated. Could be that there are some delays going on, and it's just a very binding feeling. All right, so we move to our next house, which is our money house, and we have Conjunctio. Now, Conjunctio is about an interaction. It's a combination of forces. It can be like a crossroads, and you know how, like, when you have one thing crosses another, they're interacting with each other on some point, on some level. And so with your money, if you are having issues with your money, if you'd like to increase your money flow, of course we all want to increase our money flow. It may take bringing on a new partner. It may take on picking up a side job, doing a little gig. Something needs to happen to increase that money flow, and you're going to have to work with someone else, whether that be through just communicating with maybe someone at the bank. It may be if you need your income tax, then you're going to have to sit down, interact, and file your taxes, do the work, get it in the mail. But your money is not just going to drop into your lap. You're going to have to go out and get it. It's really taking some action here, and working with someone or something else. Okay. So, I mean, but that's not bad. It just means that you have to put in some effort. Okay. Now we're going to move on to house number 3. This is the house of sibling neighbors within a 200-mile radius. So we're going to say that this is the house of your immediate surroundings. Now in this house, we have Amicio. And Amicio is about loss. It's you could have experienced some loss. You may a brother, a sister, someone in your family, could be a neighbor down the road, passed away. It doesn't always mean death, though. It means that, well, you're sitting here in isolation, so maybe you've taken yourself out of the picture here, and so you're feeling at a loss, but yet you have all these people around you, your neighbors and stuff. Or it could be someone moved away, and so you're feeling that loss there. You feel like no one wants to help you. You're not really happy where you're at. It doesn't feel like you're really, really happy where you're at right now. Okay, let's keep going. House number 4. This is the city you live in, the building you live in. It's land. It could be about your father, depending on who is watching this, what questions you have. Everyone is an individual, and a million different views on this video means there's a million different people watching it, and so that's a million different questions that you're coming to the video. You're wondering what's going to go on with such and such. And so one of those may be the father. So take that as the father. Take it as the building you live in, the city you live in, about moving, possibility of moving. House number 4 also has to do with ancient things. And, so, someone older, the elderly, could be like... well, if it's an older building, it could be a historical building, agriculture. And I'm really thinking of I'm having a moment. I can't think of the name, where they do digs. I'm telling you, I'm totally spacing out right now. Where they go out and they do digs and dig up ancient things. Oh fuck. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So it could do with things like that. Now in house number 4 though, we have Tristitia. Now Tristitia, if you'll look at it here, I will draw it out for you. It looks like a downward pointing arrow. Okay. And so that's, it's a feeling of sorrow. And that kind of ties into back over here, your immediate surroundings. You feel like you're at a loss, and you've got this isolation here too. But Tristitia is a downward movement. It's lowered spirits, lowered vitality, lowered expectations. It can feel like you're stuck where you are. And I can, like I was saying, I can really see that, you feel stuck here. You feel like, you're in prison. You're feeling a loss as far as your siblings and your neighbors and your immediate surroundings. And here you are, you've got this feeling of just almost like depression. Let's keep going because I want to make sure that we get some happy stuff in here too. Now, all right, we're going to move on over to house number 5. This is the house of crops, a child, the house of pleasure. Now, when I say crops, that's seeds that you have sown, you have nurtured these seeds, you've watered them, you've cared for them, and now they finally come into full bloom, and that's your crop that you want to harvest, right? Okay, so this is kind of about abundance. It can also be about fertility because, back to the crops, you nourished from the seed and you grew. So it could be about fertility or pregnancy. And here, once again, we have Amicio. Now, this is another feeling of loss here. I feel a lot of depression this week, and I really hope that we can come out of that as we go along with the other figures and find a way for us to climb ourselves up out of this well. I don't know if you feel like you've lost maybe your abundance, your job, you're having money issues because over here it was saying that you need to work with someone else. There has to be a combination of forces in your money house. It could be a miscarriage or a loss of a child. And if that's happened to you, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. You know what? I do feel like someone out there this has happened to, and I'm going to light a candle for you. Let's keep moving. House number 6 is our house of people, pets, and illness. And in this house, we have Rubius. Now, Rubius kind of looks like, if you draw it out, there's the base. Here is a stem, and here is a cup. So it's like a wine glass turned upside down. Now, they say that Rubius is something that has a lot of passion behind it. It can be fierceness, it can be violence. So wow, okay. But it's like you're pouring your wine out of your cup. It's whatever it was that you were passionate about, it's almost like you've given up on. Now, as far as that, I could see that with the people, because like back over here with the neighbors, we were showing some loss there. It's almost like you're giving up is what the feeling that I'm getting here. Your pets may be feeling a little bit under the weather, or they could be acting out because it did bring up, it could be a violent nature. Also, I do want to point out too, though, that Rubius can be about transformation. So the reason that you're feeling this the way that you've been feeling, maybe because you're kind of going through a change, you're going through a different cycle in your life. But I do feel there is a lot of transformation, a lot of pouring out of feelings here. As far as illnesses go, if you have been sick and you're pouring that out now, that is very favorable because you do want to get rid of that sickness. Now let's keep going. We're going to go over to house number 7, and this is the house of partners, contracts, conflicts, things like that. I like to call this house the house of romance. And here, once again, we have conjunctio. Now, this is saying there has been some interaction going on, and that is good. A combination of forces. It could be, you've got more than one person that you're looking at, or more than one partnership that you're reviewing to decide, which partnership is going to work out best. This could be a partnership, as far as a roommate. This could be a partnership in a business. This could be a romantic partnership. Because it does also include contracts, which could be a lease, a building lease, or an employment contract, things like that. But it looks like there's some interaction going on here. So I do feel like maybe this is kind of like an interviewing process for a partner or for an employee. So don't just settle just yet. Okay. Keep your options open and go through that process and have that interaction and work with different people. Looks like you're at a crossroads here. You can see the X, how it's drawn here. All right, now we're going to move on over to house number 8. This is the house of death, ghosts, magic, and cycles. I really find a lot of ancestors in this house, so I'm going to just write ancestors here because it does have to do with death and ghost. Cycles would be like, when you're reading a book, you finish one chapter, you close that chapter, you go on to the next chapter in your book of life, your journey of life. And it looks like we have, once again, we have carcer. It feels like being stuck. So it could be that you're stuck in the last chapter and you need to go ahead and just close that chapter so that you can move on. Ancestors. They're really talking about ancestors. Some people are asking, how do you communicate with your ancestors? How do you build that relationship with the ancestors? Okay, and the first thing you're going to do is make a sacred space for your ancestor. It does not have to be elaborate. It does not have to be expensive. Now, you can make it elaborate. You can spend millions of dollars if you want to. Okay, that's your choice. I'm just saying it does not have to be. Anyone can honor their ancestors and have a sacred space for their ancestors. All you need is a white candle and a glass of water. It can be in a red Solo cup and it can be a tea light. You're honoring your ancestors. You put that there for them. That's their space, whether it be on an end table, a shelf on the wall that is solely for your ancestors, whatever it may be. You have that candle and you have a glass of water. Now, always be sure to, light a new candle. Or don't let the candle burn out and then just sit there and think that's okay. No, you need to replace that with a new candle. And also, water does evaporate. The ancestors will drink that water. It will evaporate. It will leave like a foggy thing on the glass. So don't let your ancestors have yucky stuff. Take the glass off, empty it out, wash it, refill it, with some bottled water, because you want your ancestors to have the good stuff. You don't want to just, you might. If that's all you have is tap water, that is fine. But make sure you keep the glass clean and keep their area dusted and wiped off and cleaned. You can put pictures of your grandparents or your mom, dad, your ancestors, that you do have pictures of that have passed over. You can put them on that shelf or that table. Make sure when you do that, though, that you don't put a picture of your grandparents and you're sitting there when you're a little girl or a little boy and you're in the picture with your deceased grandparents. Don't use that picture. You do not want to put a living person on your ancestor altar, okay? Because what will happen will be the ancestors and the spirits will try to call that person over to them. And so don't do that. Don't do that. You want to, just if the picture has you in it, cut yourself out and then put the picture up there. But make sure that you honor your ancestors, because it does feel like you're really feeling stuck in that area. But like I said, it could also be that you feel stuck in the past and you need to close that chapter so that you can move on to the next chapter. Okay, I'm getting a little long-winded here, so I will move on. House number 9. This is a house of travel, of going beyond 200 miles. It's also the house of spirituality and of divination. Now, I want to show you something here. In this particular house, you got Via. Now, if you look here, you have only one dot in each of them. One dot is an active energy. And you see the line here, that's actually like 2 dots, but I draw a line, makes it easier for me when I'm putting the figures in the houses. But so 1 dot is active energy, 2 dots or a straight line is passive energy. Now here you have fire, you have air, you have water, and you have earth. And you have active energy in all 4 elements. So that is really like a spark of electricity. I see it as a white, like a white lightning with blue sparks. It's like a very crackling energy, like electricity. It's crackling. It's very active. It keeps changing. It's movement. It's constant movement going on here. So, if you are planning to travel, this might be a good time. But also, it's in the house of spirituality. So, it looks like there's a lot of spiritual activity going on here. And this is like in a house and things like that, which is good. Divination, it's saying, get involved, do more. Let's keep this energy moving. But it's growing, it's moving, it's changing. I do want to point out too that Via is ruled by the moon. So really, really use your intuition when it comes to travel, spirituality, and divinations. So if you're wanting to learn, but it's showing you really getting involved in all of these areas here. All right, now let's go over to house 10. This is your house of career. It could be about your mother. We did have a house up here about the father. So depending on who you are and what you came into this video looking for answers for, it could be about your mother. But it is about the house of career and reputation. Now, in this house, you got Puella. So there's a lot of female energy going on here. There's a lot of harmony, happiness. Sometimes it can feel a little bit off, but for the most part, you're pretty happy in your career and with your reputation. Like I said, if you get to feeling off about that sometimes, it's okay. You'll bounce right back. You'll bounce right back. All right, so let's keep going. Over here in our 11th house, this is a house of friends. It's, your friends helping you out, receiving help from outside sources. This is also the house of hopes and wishes and that unspoken question. What I was talking about earlier, 1 million people come in and view, and they all come in looking for something. Okay, I don't know what each individual, because I'm not doing a personalized reading right now, I don't know what each individual's question is. So this is the answer for that unspoken question that you're asking about. Okay, and in this house, we got the dragon's tail. Now, the dragon's tail is about endings. If you look at it, here's the door, here's the footprints leading out of the door. This is endings. It's a completion. It's letting go of the past, which is what we're talking about here. Let go of the past, and so that you can move to the next chapter in your life. Um, so it's really about letting go. It's almost like a radical change, to be honest, a disruption. But yeah, there may be some friends that you need to let go of as far as hopes and wishes. Those might need to be put on the back burner for this week. But yeah, it's about ending, or it could be that you've come to a completion and you've achieved your goal. So that, has come to an end. But yeah, that is about endings. Now let's keep moving. We'll move over to house number 12. This is our house of restrictions, debt, and secrets. And once again, we got Via. We've got all of this active energy going on here. So it looks like, let me look back up here at our money. We need, some interaction in our money department. Feeling trapped. That could be why. Because if you've got all this energy in your house of restrictions and debts, you need to make a budget. I feel like a lot of this has to do with bills, and you've got a lot of things coming in. There's a lot of movement going on as far as like the debts and the restrictions. And so we're really going to, whatever this interaction is that you need to do with your money, whether it be talking to a loan officer, filling out that form for the IRS and getting it sent in, that this is very, very important here. I'm going to put a big star here. This is very, very important. So make sure that you do whatever this interaction is that you need to do with your money, because you've got a lot of debts and things that need to be taken care of. I feel like some of you have some people like getting on your case about, you need to pay this off or whatever. So we make a budget, get it under control, do what you got to do to get that money flowing. All right, so let's go down here. Now, these last three figures here, if we were doing a personal reading, it would be set up like a court. Okay, you've got your 12 houses here, which are your 12 jurors. You have witness number 1, witness number 2, and then you have the judge. And you have the judge's answer, then you would have a sentence and how it's going to affect you and what you ask about, blah, blah, blah. However, as I was saying in the beginning, this is a weekly forecast. So as you see here, we have the past, and it doesn't say it here, but this is the present, and we have the future, which the future, this determines the future if you leave the reading the way it is. Now, the reason we do readings is to see what is going to happen if we keep on the same path that we are currently on. If you like everything that you saw in all 12 houses, just let it flow, let it happen, let it unfold naturally, and you'll get these results here, which I'm about to go over. If you don't like something in a particular house, or if you don't like an outcome, of the future or the present, then you have free will. You can change those things. That's the whole reason to get a reading. We're looking to see how can we make our lives and ourselves better. Okay. And that's my goal, is to help you along your journey. All right. So in the past, once again, we have Rubius. This is the wine glass that is turned upside down. You're feeling, you know, just kind of drained. And I can see that, because that's kind of how you start off the week, feeling stuck. So in the past, things have been very draining for you, and you feel like you've poured all of your energy and your passions into something, and it just leaves you feeling empty. Okay. Now at the present, and after going through all of this depression and everything, overall in the present, you got acquisitio. Now, acquisitio is about gain. So that's really telling me that you need to take this time that we're going through all of this other stuff, this feeling of depression, these downward things, all of that. Use that time to really focus on what's important to you, and because overall it's gain. I mean, the main keyword of acquisitio is gain. So really use this time to focus and meditate and use it as a lesson, and we learn from our lessons so that we can build off of them, so that we can gain. We gain knowledge. Why are we going through this? Why did this happen? We gain that knowledge and we learn from our mistakes so that we don't continue to make them. So, whatever is keeping you stuck in the past, there's a lesson there, a lesson that you need to learn so that you can move forward and not repeat those same things over again. Otherwise, we get stuck back in the same thing, and it's just a vicious cycle over and over and over again. Now, in the future, if you don't change things, if you don't learn those, take the time and learn those lessons, you end up with Tristitia. Now, Tristitia was this downward arrow. And that's not necessarily what we want. We don't want to continue feeling down. We want to lift our spirits up, not feel like they're lowered. So yeah, I really feel the overall message for this reading. Let me pull up the full page here so you can see. I feel like the overall message for this reading is this is a week of learning. Learn from past mistakes. Really take those lessons to heart and apply them towards the future so that you don't continue to feel in this slump. All right, guys, listen. Whoever this was up here, I'm really am in this loss, this miscarriage here. I'm going to go light a candle for you and keep it burning all week, and I will be praying for you. For the rest of you, I really hope that you take all of this in, soak it up, learn those lessons that you need to learn, apply them towards future events, let go of the past, keep moving forward, increase that money flow here. And I hope you all have a very, very amazing week. You can make your week amazing. It doesn't have to stay in this stuck mode. You are in charge of your own destiny, and you can make it as fabulous as you want it to be. All right, guys, I hope that you have an amazingly fabulous week. Love you bunches. Bye-bye.